What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. We're going to look at the Feral Druid buffs that came in the latest patch. There were some nice, really good buffs, actually, that came in for Feral Druid. And I think that Feral was one of the choices that I had as my main DPS. And if you watched the previous video, you know that I'm not playing that anymore, but I'm still very interested in anything going on with Feral. And I did a key on the beta with the buffs that have come in. So let's talk about the buffs. First of all, on the hero talent trees, Druid of the Claw got buffed. Not by like enough, I wouldn't say. Ravage, extra AoE damage got buffed by 25%. Dreadful Wound went up, and then the Ferocious Bite damage from Brutal Strength went up. So it's all good. It's just like the playstyle of Druid of the Claw is still, I hate it. I hate playing. I can't stand it. I don't think it makes any sense. The whole idea of Druid of the Claw to me is like just really weird in that it, I keep hitting minimize, in that it just replaces your Ferocious Bite with an AoE Ferocious Bite, but your Ferocious Bite is already an AoE Ferocious Bite because you have Rampant Ferocity. So like what, I don't know. It's just like, it's just a strange thing. And I felt the play style, like I'm constantly waiting to do almost all of my damage is wrapped up in this Ravage proc. And so oftentimes I'm incentivized to use Ravage right away as soon as I get a proc of Ravage, which is, again, it replaces Ferocious Bite. I need to spend it as quickly as I possibly can. But if I'm at like one combo point and I get a Ravage proc from my auto attacks, I have to wait until I get to 5 combo points before I spend it, or else it's like wasted. And that means that sometimes I might get another proc of Ravage while I'm busy trying to build combo points. So I still think that the Druid of the Claw tree is just really bad in general, and I hate the way that it is kind of designed. To me, anytime you get a proc on Ravage, it should just automatically count as having spent 5 combo points. You should be able to spend it right away. I think that would be a good change for the tree. Wildstalker got nerfed in terms of the Bloodseeker Vine, but the AoE explosion of the Bloodseeker Vine, which is the Bursting Growth, that got buffed. So your single target went down a little bit on the vines. Your AoE went up quite a bit on the vine. So that's good. And then let's get to the Feral actual changes here to Feral. We are increasing Feral's damage overall, especially in multiple target situations, and moving some of their damage out of Ferocious Bite and into their sources like Bleeds and Builders. So all rip damage up by 10%. Good. Rampant Ferocity, which is the AoE portion of your Ferocious Bite, that went up, that doubled in damage if you wait until you have the extra energy. So you have to wait until you get 50 energy, and then you press Ferocious Bite, and then the Rampant Ferocity damage will go way up. So this is something I didn't do like perfectly in the key that I ran, but just understand that this damage got doubled. Taste for Blood increased Ferocious Bite damage by 12, so nerf slightly on the Taste for Blood. I believe that's this talent down here, right? Oh no, that's Tiger's Tenacity. Is that on the tree? Taste for, oh, there it is. It's down here. Okay, so that is the Ferocious Bite specific damage. So used to be 15%, now it's 12. Not the biggest nerf, it's fine. It essentially, it kind of went down by 6% because your Ferocious Bite it used to do 15% more damage and 15% more damage during Tiger's Fury. So now it went down by 3% on each of those, but it's not, honestly, not the end of the world. Apex Predator has a higher chance to proc in multi-target situations. So this is great. Blizzard made it so that in a single target situation, you had a higher chance to proc Apex Predator because you don't have multiple rips that can proc it. So it makes sense. But now they've come back and they've said, hey, you know what? The AoE procking wasn't high enough. We want it to be higher. Shred, Swipe, Brutal Slash, and Thrash, as well as the Moonfire, and Rake initial damage up by 30%. So almost every ability that you press in your rotation, the initial damage went up by 30%. Very good. Berserk now increases all damage by 15%, was 10. The bleed that you get from Berserk whenever you use a combo point builder has gone up to 150% of the direct damage dealt instead of 135%. So a 15% bonus there on that bleed. Primal Wrath direct damage up by 20%. Adaptive Swarm direct damage up by 20%. Very, very good. So here's a dungeon that I did. Here's the numbers overall. Ferocious Bite, still our highest ability. Now, remember, I'm doing like a convoke build. I'll show you my build in a second, but you do end up biting a lot as your filler, right? You're not doing Primal Wrath as your filler anymore. You're doing bite. So bite is highest damage, and then we got rip, rake, brutal slash, rampant. There was a nerf to Wildstalker, right? To the Bloodseeker Vines. So the Vines only did 5.3% of my damage, but the Bursting Growth did 6.6. So put together, that's almost 12% of my damage. I think it's 11.9% of my damage overall. So that puts it way up here as my third. It's actually above Rake. So still our hero tree is contributing a lot of damage to if you're playing Wildstalker. So I think that's really good. That's a reasonable amount of damage from a hero tree in my mind. Anywhere between, 12 to 15% is pretty good. If you go above 15%, it starts to get a little silly. And there's some trees that are still doing like 20% of people's damage. So a little bit. Adaptive Swarm almost did 5%. And then the upfront hit of Primal Wrath did 3%. So those got buffed as well. There's Frenzied Assault as well. This is 150% of our direct damage instead of 135. So lots of buffs that came through there. Let me show you just some footage of it. I thought I had the beginning of the dungeon queued up here. My bad. So it was good. I think that overall, I think Feral is still suffering from the same general problem, which of course is that their energy regeneration it's still problematic, right? I think that the nerfs that came through to the energy regeneration are still a problem. And I think that Blizzard needs to go back on some of those changes. We're doing good damage here, though. I will say this, like over the course of the dungeon, we do end up doing really, really good damage. So I don't know. I'm always a little torn on this because everybody always says to me, Zuko, Feral got absolutely nerfed to the ground. They're so terrible now because of the changes to the energy that got nerfed. And I'm like, you know what? I feel you. You're right. The energy regeneration does feel really bad. But at the same time, when I go into these dungeons and I start doing damage, our damage isn't that bad. So I don't know. I do think that Blizzard just wants you to play a little bit slower as Feral. But in my opinion, standing still and waiting for your energy to get back up to like 50 energy, or just waiting in general, trying to pool your resources and just standing around doing nothing, watching your bleeds tick on enemies, like that's not fun gameplay. I don't think anybody has fun playing the game like that. And it's not quite that extreme, but there's definitely moments where you're supposed to just be standing still, kind of waiting for your energy to come back. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. Here's Edna, the first boss. This is a good test of our single target damage. So again, let's just see how this kind of goes. This is my opener with Convoke. Well, I was supposed to show you the build. I'm really sorry. Let me show you the build really quickly. So my build does have, this is a Wildstalker build. I'm doing double Adaptive Swarm because Adaptive Swarm buffs the damage of all your dots, all your bleeds by 25%. That includes Thriving Growth, the vines that you put on enemies. I have Taste for Blood. I have 1 point in Tireless Energy. And then I don't take Circle of Life and Death. The reason I don't take Circle is because my rips that I put on because of Primal Wrath, they fall off really fast. So Primal Wrath used to last for 15 seconds without Circle. And then it went down to 12 seconds if you had Circle. And now it starts at 12 seconds and it goes down to like 9 seconds or almost 9.5 seconds kind of thing. So that means you have to Primal Wrath a lot more often if you take Circle. And I want to be pressing Ferocious Bite more often in between my Primal Wraths because I have Rampant Ferocity and I have Taste for Blood, and my vines can be procced. They can explode, right? If I Ferocious Bite the vine. So if you take Circle of Life and Death, I think it's a mistake because you want to spend more GCDs pressing Ferocious Bite. Does that make sense? Anyway, there's my build. I have Blood Talons. We have it's a dot build with Swarm. It's a Swarm dot build, and I think it works quite well. But I just want to make sure you guys understand my reasoning for not taking Circle, especially. If you take Circle, you will spend more time refreshing your Primal Wrath. And that means you spend less time pressing Ferocious Bite, which means you're not biting your vines as often as you should be. You're going to lose damage. So I have a vine on the enemy right now, and every time I bite it, it explodes, right? So very, very good. So our damage on Edna was pretty good here. There's the new Xal'atath mechanic that we're doing as well, the one that has the orbs that kind of come in towards the boss. They actually come in towards the tank now. It's been changed a little bit, but right here, you can see this is one of those times where I should be like, I'm trying to bank up my energy in order to do a big ferocious bite at 50 energy. It just, I just don't enjoy that playstyle. I'm not gonna lie. I really wish that if they change that part of Feral, like honestly, just nerf some of the damage numbers on Feral and then make it so that the energy regeneration is like never a problem ever again for the rest of our lives. Like if you play Windwalker Monk, you don't really have energy regen problems ever. You never do. You can just do your rotation regularly. You're pressing all your big buttons. You're doing lots of damage and you don't really ever suffer. If you press Tiger Palm over and over and over again, then you're going to suffer because you're not doing the rotation correctly. But here it's like, I'm trying to do my rotation correctly and you still run out of energy. And I think that's just a fundamental problem with Feral. So there's the damage on Edna. We do okay here. I think we're at the top by the end, or the Feral, or the, I think Beaver might have beat us at the very end there, but it was good damage. And then inside your Berserk cooldowns, of course, you have crazy amounts of damage. I have 2-minute Convoke, so I tend to have Berserk and Convoke lining up together, which is really great. But the bottom line is anytime you can Berserk as Feral, you will do really, really good damage. I mean, you just will. You'll always do solid damage. Here's a big long pull without Berserk and without Convoke. So again, we're still doing over 1 million damage per second without having our major 2 cooldowns, Convoke and Berserk. And I think, you know, that's really good to see for Feral. I think this is, again, part of the problem why, like, people are like, oh, the energy regen's so terrible. It's like, yeah, but the damage is still okay. You know, we're keeping up with the boys. We're keeping up with them here. So even without our cooldowns. So I'm not really sure. I'm a little bit torn. I do wish they'd fix energy regeneration. Maybe just nerf our damage. Because ultimately, like, it feels bad to play this way. Yes, I'm doing damage. We're keeping up here. We're a little bit behind the Pally, but we're almost neck and neck with the Warrior. So we're keeping up, but it feels bad to play. That's the difference. And I think Blizzard should always err on the side of the game feels good to play, even if your numbers get nerfed a little bit. Like, obviously, they should try to balance that out so that it's the same. But my point is simply to say, if it's ever a choice between doing damage or the game feeling good to play, they should make sure that the game feels good to play first. It should feel good to play first. That would be my bottom line. Here's the next boss. This is a tougher fight for us, but this is really cool. I want to show you exactly how you should play this boss. So at the beginning of this fight, we're not doing very much damage because I'm focusing really hard on trying to DPS the extra adds. So I'm missing some damage on the boss, and that's okay. That's how it should go. But like, our damage right now is really, really bad. But all your damage in this fight will basically come during the shield phase. So you're going to actually, I think we die on this pull, right? Give me a second here. Yeah, we all die. Let me try this again because there's a better pull here. So all your damage on this fight is going to come during the shield phase. You have to pick up these little shadowy orbs here. You can see them. Those give you a damage boost, and they help you do damage during the shield phase only. They basically buff your damage against the shield, not against the boss's health, just against the shield. So if you oh, Fury went crazy. I forgot about that. Fury went absolutely crazy in this. That was awesome. So here we go. He's doing his channel. I picked up a bunch of orbs now. I have one of them. I think I have 1 orb. So my damage is going to be accelerated. I had Berserk and Convoke lining up at the same time. Watch my damage here. I'm doing 270k right now damage per second, and then it's gonna rise up here. 300, boom, boom, boom. Look at the Convoke, boom, 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 boom. We're back up to the top. Isn't that crazy? That is what you should do on this fight. Your damage should look kind of bad for the first little while, and then during the shield phase, you're basically getting double, triple damage against the shield. You want to break it as quickly as possible, and then you're back to dealing with the adds. But it's really, really cool. I like how this fight works, and this fight is really good for specs that have cooldowns that can be utilized in moments like this. If you have like a 1 minute or a 2 minute cooldown, you should save it for this moment in the boss fight so that you can really just blast that shield. And again, once again, here comes the next phase. I have 3 orbs this time. 3 orbs. My damage is going to be insane right here. So watch this. He gets his shield. I don't have Convoke or anything, but I do have my Ferocious Bite ready to go. And we'll just blow up this shield. Every bite is just doing crazy amounts of damage to the shield, which is awesome. That's how you should do this fight. And because, again, he's pulsing damage, so you want to kill this shield as quickly as possible. Anyway, that's how that boss fight goes. It's very, very cool. Let me show you 332. Oh, that was, oh no, yeah. Let's go to 332 for a second. 332.10. I want to show you me biting the vines. So this is really important. Again, you can see the big vine on the enemy. You want to bite those things with Convoke, and you can see right here, I end up biting it multiple times, and our damage goes really crazy. I just want to back up one more time. So look at our damage at the beginning of the fight here. We're going to get a vine on this guy, and I'm in Berserk, and I'm going to Convoke onto this target. If you press Convoke onto a target that has a vine, your bites will explode the vine. So watch my damage. 400,000. We're going to just pump it at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a million. See, I was just like bite on the vine, and it exploded multiple times with the hero tree. So that's kind of the gameplay loop that you're trying to do, and I really enjoy it on Pharaoh. I've said this a million times already, but I enjoy this playstyle on Pharaoh where you're trying to do this little mini game of biting the vine. So that's how Pharaoh is looking. I think it looks actually really good to me, and the overall numbers are right here. We ended up doing 610 overall. We were just underneath Beaver on the Fury Warrior, and we were actually ahead of the Paladin. Again, Ferocious Bite, Rip, there's all of our damage right there. It's really fun to play. I think it's actually good. The buffs are good. I still think that the energy is a problem, and I really wish that Blizzard would fix this energy thing. You know, we don't get resets on Tiger's Fury anymore, and Tireless Energy. Tireless Energy is a talent point that you really shouldn't even be taking because you're losing damage. Kind of. I know getting energy means you can cast more spells. I get it, but it's just like, I don't know. It's frustrating that other specs in the game can just do their damage and not have to worry about the resources like ever, like a Paladin or even like a Windwalker monk who has energy, and we're like constantly worried about our energy. I just don't think that's a good way to do this. So I hope Blizzard buffs this, but even if they don't, I promise you the damage is good. It just doesn't feel great to play. I wish Blizzard would reverse that, but that's the way it is right now. So with these buffs coming in, I think Pharaoh's actually in a good position DPS wise. I think that they're actually looking pretty strong, and it's nice to see that Blizzard was actually giving them some attention. I still think that Druid of the Claw is a terrible feeling hero tree to play, but the rest of it is good. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much again for watching. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.